welcome to Tales of the Temple Tankard. This is DMD in chat. We're doing something a little bit different tonight because of some internet issues. This video will be posted later on YouTube once we're recording, but we are actually in the Temple Tankard Tavern Room right now, and getting things kicked off here. We have with us right now Nans, and Dow is with us as well. You guys can go say hi.
What up, people?
Hello, everybody. I'm a special guest on a special show.
Absolutely.
Yay.
So, it may have some other people pop in. We don't know. This is the Tavern Room, one of the main chat channels on the Temple Tankard Discord server. So, who knows if anyone else will jump in here or not, want to join in the discussion. But we are all here to just throw out ideas and play around with some world building thing as we are back in our world, tentatively called the Spireverse. At least that's kind of a working title there. Or I believe on the map here it's called Vinterra. So, woohoo. But today we so far, just to kind of zoom out of the map here, we talked a bit about the southeast map with all the water and chunky mountains and everything else like that, and then we talked about the map of the southwest. That was sort of more of a wasteland kind of thing. A lot of different ideas for different types of campaigns of people struggling for resources and trying to do different things there. So I had a lot of fun ideas pop up in there. But today we're going to jump into the northwest, and that's going to be right up here. I'm going to ping it and zoom in a little bit and see what we're looking at up here. And just looking at this map, a couple of different ideas jumped out at me, and I kind of I'll throw a couple things out there, and Nans and Dow, you jump in and throw some of your ideas in here too. But what we've noticed in the last two times we've done this here is that the map really helps drive some story ideas, some campaign ideas. Just the land features, the water features, just the what you're seeing there, and even on some of these maps, what might be settlements or ruins, you can't really tell exactly. So it gives you sort of a general idea to start with, to maybe think of a concept for a campaign or what's going on in this part of the world. And so I'm going to put in a couple of features here, but before I do that, Nans, Dow, what features jump out at you when you look at this map here?
Mountain range is really nice. You can have a lot of different caves, crevices, and things like that. Different kinds of bugs and monsters and stuff living in those areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
You almost have like a swampland there, I think around the center there, or just maybe a marshland in the middle there. An old destroyed village of some sort.
Yeah.
Sort of like an Aztec feeling.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like it. Nans, how about you? What do you see? What's jumping out at you here?
So I like how at the north end of this could be like an ice field, right? Like the whole thing is made of ice. But then down here near the bottom, there's just this one place right here at a spot that could be ice and not water. Because if you look at all the water out and around it, that actually looks like water. But this spot right here kind of looks like ice and not water.
Nice, yeah. Both really cool observations here. What kind of struck me is kind of sitting back and looking at this. What I noticed was kind of like this green area, this sort of burnt area over here, some water and lakes over here, and this whole frozen north up top. Like the fact that this entire area up here is frozen. And I immediately got but then there's right in the middle, right here, you have some sort of like almost like a stronghold or something on top of a mountain.
I did draw my eye to that too. That was pretty. Mm-hmm.
And so I immediately thought of like, well, what if just as an overall like backdrop for this region here, the whole north is freezing and it's creeping down, and this tower right here in the center, this little guy right here in the center here, is holding it all back, trying to keep the frost from creeping in and taking over. And so you have some like alpine looking forests over here. You've got these frozen mountains all over here. And I looked up here, the almost looks like some kind of ruins up here, the frozen area up here. And what kind of things that would do? Like the idea of like, okay, well, there's lots of creatures that are frost and ice creatures that are up there inhabiting those north, and they're starting to invade south. And this is sort of the bastion against all of that creeping into the lower areas of the continent.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the winter is coming.
Yeah, a little bit. Without the giant wall.
Right, without the wall. The winter is
Yeah.
coming. You got frost giants coming down. You've got cloud giants maybe coming in. Anything of that like breezy cold type thing is up there, and they're just like, we don't have enough space. We're gonna come down.
And so obviously there's sort of an overall like just like continent level view of what's going on here. Now obviously if you're setting a game in this region, it's all maybe volcanic, and maybe there's sort of like the melted area or something, or you have sort of like almost like a blasted desert down here. I look at these little like inverted triangle things, and I'm almost thinking like sort of a magical like obelisks that are floating in the sky kind of thing. Why it's all baked and weird here. Magic's gone wrong. Maybe you have frozen lake here, something that's sort of like a like you were saying, maybe some agent of the north is established a stronghold in the south, and now there's a contested zone down here in this lake. So I mean, so really you can have, like with that sort of a backdrop here, you can obviously the further south you go into these forest areas down here, they're not seeing much of that problem. But it's something that's out there that they've heard of. And as you go north, it becomes more and more of a war zone along sort of this line kind of right about here. It's kind of the contested zone. So it comes down to, in a game you want to create there, what kind of scale do you want to work with? Are you talking about being part of what's holding it all back? Or is it you're just in sort of a down here, sort of like completely oblivious to what's happening up there, and eventually maybe something gets worse, or something starts to happen. Who knows? So
I like this area over here that looks like it's red clay. And like it gives me the feel of like they dug too deep.
Yep.
Right? So it could be filled with dwarves just sitting over there, or any type of mining type of. We always think of dwarves when we think of mining, but it literally could be. It could be halflings, the hill halflings, or anything to that effect. Even the lizard folk, they like to dig as well. So like it could be they just dug too deep, and now for whatever reason, whatever conflict is happening over there.
In a way, it's like this region here tried to fight back against the frozen north there, and ended up like cooking their whole area instead. So it's all like burnt and red. So one thing that Don, like, I don't know what this right here. I'm like, what am I? Is it sort of like almost like a whirling weird little like water vortex of some kind under the water there on the coast?
It does. Yep. And what I was thinking is that's where the spire goes through.
Well, the spire's like way over here.
I mean, it's my world. I can put it where I want, right?
True. I'm just saying, it's like that. So I guess it comes down to is this whole thing, is this whole region up here on one world of the spire, or is it one continent within this layer of the spire?
Right. So. And that whirlpool right there, like it could be a whirlpool. There could be an underground area into like something underneath the Terra that's on top.
Yeah.
Could have built on anything that could be in there.
I mean, in Avarice, that's what I kind of. It's too close to shore, but there's an area out in the Fargleam Ocean, off the eastern coast of the continent there, that's the Maelstrom, called the Maelstrom, which is basically just a never-ending whirlpool because there's a massive rip to the plane of water.
Right.
Out in that area there, so it's never gone away, not completely. So maybe some sort of magical phenomenon. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, what also I like to think is like over here on this island, it's so disconnected from the rest of the world, right? So they may not know of everything that's going on with this upper area that's inside of a fight that's coming in.
Yep. The more isolated they're sort of kept out of it for the most part there, until, I mean, for them, the water starts to get colder around them. Like the water starts getting more and more frigid around their island, and suddenly it's like, like, why is the temperature going down and going down? And so they send an expedition out to find out what's happening. Like, it's not icebergs and everything else yet, but it's getting colder, which is not right.
Mm-hmm.
So sending an expeditionary force to the mainland to see what's happening.
And something funky with this shoehorn, like it catches my eye, but that's not what draws me to the map. What draws me to the map was
This,
that, like that, yes, like
yeah.
this was what drew me to the map was right
Mm-hmm.
there. But that Ram's Horn or Shoehorn Island area there, it it's funky. It doesn't look like it belongs there.
Well, and I'll now you want to jump in on this too here. Um, my first thought looking at that was uh, maybe, weirdly enough, uh, this whatever cooked this area like submerged this area. Like maybe these mountains were starting to freeze and everything else that, and a glacier of some kind was coming down from the north, and then when they melted it all, it just flooded this whole region here. It's sort of this little inland bay sea looking thing.
Right. That that's a possibility.
Hmm.
It's amazing with the map and just spending some time looking around at it. You could build so much from it so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to make sure you got a notepad and start putting notes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you're in here, I mean, you could just say now. Another thing that this reminds me of right here too. How many of you, have either of you been or seen pictures of Crater Lake in
No.
Oregon?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
I
so
think I saw pictures at one time.
yeah, so basically, imagine basically you have a massive mountain. There's an explosion and volcanic eruption, and the whole mountaintop blows off,
Oh
and
man.
then everything sinks back in, and over millions of years, all the rainwater and snow melt fills it up. And I can kind of see the borderline of
Hmm.
the old mountain all the way around here.
That yeah. Like
So
it
an
connects a
ancient
little bit
volcano. Yeah.
connects a little bit
Or
to there.
maybe maybe it only goes to like right here or something. And so this is
Mhm. Mhm.
and so a massive eruption happened and then the sea essentially rushed in this direction once that got blown apart there. This area here got worn down and the water kind of rushed in and filled the space.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And then it gives, the idea of adventurers can go in and kind of find like hidden items that were
Mhm.
said to be in like not just like items like weapons and armor because that's what most adventurers want, but like you can
Sure.
find rare metals and precious metals, and you can
Yeah.
find rare ore that is down in there because it got heated so fast and then rapidly cooled, it changes its form. Yeah, you
Yeah.
could
It'd be
send a
fun. The whole reason this water is so dark down here is the bottom there is all obsidian.
right. That's what I was just about to say.
There you go. Yep.
Like they hear far off tale that the bottom of that ocean right there in that
Yep.
specific area is full of obsidian. You just got to go down and get it and fight whatever creatures have now filled itself in.
The Ebon Glass Basin.
Right? Got to throw Kraken in there now somewhere.
Let's see if we do this here.
Even if it's just a baby Kraken, you got to throw a Kraken in there somewhere.
Why can't I never? Let's do that. I have a problem with that. Where text in roll 20 does not like to behave itself. Let's try
It
this again.
does not. You have to know exactly what you want to put in and where you want to put it, and the font and the color and everything before you even put it there.
That's okay. Here we go. That's not too bad. Boop. So yeah. So
Hmm.
now we have a name. Um, yeah. So yeah, just the idea there. Um, I guess then, w- and here's something to consider too: is like who, like, what is this person? What is this here? What is this like? Is this some like powerful wizard? Some like who's leading up this resistance against of keeping the frost at bay?
I mean, I feel like we use wizards an awful lot,
Me
don't
too.
you?
Me too.
So why can't we be using like a sorcerer or a paladin who has decided not to follow their oath anymore?
Yep.
And
Or, I mean, you want to go crazy? Call it a lich.
that's what I was going. They're turning themselves into a lich. I mean,
Or they already are. They're the undying um guardian,
mhm, mhm.
and they maybe have a bunch of like golem things and everything else that kind of help guard the place, and maybe some dragons that help out the area too. Be fun to throw that in the mix.
Yep. Like all the bad is in the north and all the good is in the south, and now we just need to figure out like this is desert land in my opinion, right here in the middle
Sure.
that
Hmm.
divides the two. So like what would a base let's just use humans. What would the basic human want or need through a desert to get to the other side?
Well, look at between here, so between like this whole region here and all the way over to here, it's pretty much all just bait. I
Yeah.
mean, it's you have more sort of like bone desert here and sort of like clay desert up here. Um, so probably maybe nothing. There's no settlements there, or I mean, there's ruins at
Wow.
some point. What are you gonna say,
Yeah,
Dan?
as you were talking about other classes that we haven't been using, the desert would be a really good place for a warlock cult who is trying to investigate and expand their spell slots
Ooh,
Sure. Yeah.
that's a nice one.
because they are so limited.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
limited. I mean, that is a good one.
So, uh, c- so I guess is the cult trying to expand the wasteland, or are they trying to heal the wasteland,
It's
Mm.
or just trying to
interesting.
draw on the magical energy that caused the problem in
Yeah.
the first place and make themselves more powerful?
It's a remote place where nobody's going to find their evil cult,
Yeah,
and they want to keep it that way.
and
That
maybe
sounds
these little
like
floating things here are the actual like they're floating towers they're using to move around the space.
right, right. I
Ooh.
was just putting together like people go into the desert, but not like the deep far into the desert, just enough
Hmm.
to like search the runes for some type of I don't know, like some type of old technology, but it's really super powerful.
Sure.
Like because now they had to, they were super advanced, but now because of the explosion from the mountain there, they've been set
Hmm.
back. And
Yeah.
now to regain some of that technology, they have to go into the desert. But doing so means you have to mess with the warlock.
Yeah. And avoid these floating pyramid things here.
Hmm.
These these black shards that are floating around.
I could see myself building a desert game right now.
Hmm. Yep. I mean, a bunch of crazy guys with these little. I don't want to say like Mad Max. 'Cause we did the last one here with Wesley in there, but basically these kind of people that kind of keep low to the ground and kind of skim along there using magic there.
Hmm.
I'm picturing sort of like some sort of combination of like floating disc spells and some sort of propulsion mechanisms to kind of zoom across the
Hmm.
other sands, um, and
It's
avoid the things up in the sky.
funny we're thinking like, old fantasy, but now we can go into like super high tech, maybe not Mad Max
Mhm.
time, but we
Yeah,
could go into oh, what is that name with Riddick,
sure.
where they were
Yeah.
scouring the desert looking for stuff. And if they weren't
Mhm.
back in time, they got eat up by whatever sun source, right? At that point, it was the sun was doing it. But like,
Mhm.
if they got caught by those upside down triangles or the sorcerer found out about it, he would put like basically turn the desert to glass.
Essentially, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I think the idea is that I mean, if he's up here trying to keep kind of focusing his attention up this way, he's not paying much attention to what's happening behind him.
Right. Right. And you got some crazy adventurers wanting to do crazy things.
Yeah, and I mean, I see this really kind of cool little lake thing here, and then this being this part right here is supposed to be almost like mud. It's like
Ooh.
a mud shore kind of thing like that.
Swamps. We love the
Yep.
swamps.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, they did think like a mud flat kind of thing.
Right.
So it's just sort of like this, like because there's enough water here, and to basically keep this all going.
Right.
Hey,
Enough
You're
everybody,
on live.
we are live here, or we're
Hi,
recording right now. But yeah,
Fernie.
jump in and join us. Yeah,
Hello.
How's it
hello.
going?
Um,
Good.
so we're messing around with our map here in Roll20 here, and dreaming up things for this crazy continent area up here.
Right.
Yeah. Um, I think, uh, like I see almost kind of the civilization that's still more intact being down, of course, in this maybe over in here,
South
maybe up in
Aurora.
this mountain. Yeah, kind of over in here. Um, because yeah, there's not this level of destruction there was everywhere else.
Yeah, most of the populace is probably down in here that is like
Hmm.
not wanting to be combative. They're probably still living this I farm for a living type lifestyle,
Hmm.
but eventually they're going to have to get involved in some type of war, either the one with the warlock or the one with the lich that's going on up there.
Well, I can kind of see their little influences expanding over to here now. So yes,
Hmm.
they're kind of spreading up in here, and
Hmm.
now this is freezing over here. It's like this is kind of creeping in on them right now.
It is. It is. You got a tiny bit up here too.
A little bit, yeah, yeah.
Like it
I
just.
I kind of see almost this is almost like a corridor for like imagine like a glacier had come through here to scour this whole area,
Hmm.
and now it's retreated, but it hasn't left. It basically like literally sanded this all down to nothing. There's no usable land left.
Right.
Um, So I guess beyond just the typical like frost giants and other cold-based things here, what are the other things you kind of see up in these crazy high mountains up in here?
My favorite thing in the entire world, dragons.
Sure. I mean, lots of high peaks there, especially like what I mean, like white dragons and stuff,
White
gold-based ones.
dragons, yeah, gold based, anything that likes the cold.
And
Hmm.
dragons are smart. They have mimics guarding their gold.
What is the other thing
I
that
mean, this being right here, this little ruin is having like a massive nest of white dragons and stuff that live here.
so I was just reading a homebrew group of tieflings that could
Mhm.
withstand the cold. And
Oh yeah.
that would be really cool to have up there. And especially if we're going, like, there's a warlock in the desert,
Mhm.
it would tie right into that because a lot of tieflings have, like, most people who play tieflings usually pick warlock as their persons.
I mean, yeah, depending.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cool, cool. I like it. Yeah, this giant ice field here, just like being sort of just completely frozen over a lake, just
Yep.
this like flat expanse, and like massive cracks of like that form like little like rivers within it and everything else. Um, it'd be fun. Yeah, I like that. Um,
Mystical
yeah,
polar bears and yetis.
Ooh,
yep,
Yetis.
yep, yeah,
Yetis. I have not played with a Yeti.
yep. They are fun. I mean, having a whole tribe. That's the cool thing is that I mean, there's such a large area across here. You can basically, yeah, like dragons over here, and the tiefling settlement here and some yetis up in here, or maybe I'd say yetis over here in the big old flat the tundra section over here. Um, and just some of them are trying to push south. Some of them are just sort of hanging out and living where they live.
The winter wolves are a good one.
Yep. Often they work as pets. I can
Um,
see yetis and winter wolves as like their hunting pets.
yeah, that would work. What was? Oh, apparently. Um, what are their names now? I can't think of their name. They're a big part of mind flayers.
Oh, sure, sure.
Mind flayers love the cold, apparently.
Yeah. They tend to be very subterranean. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Oh, we could
I
have
mean
Goliath up
that
there.
hmm? I mean that again, this could be like a fallen civilization taken over by mind flayers.
Hmm. I like Goliaths. Goliaths are my favorite race to play outside of Dragonborn.
Mhm. Mm. Glass as because at least in 2024 now they've actually got them different types of glass, like frost glass and fire glass and stone glass.
As they should have been all along. Thank you, Wizards
Yeah,
of the Coast.
yeah.
Yep.
And that's why the idea of like having just again glass in that rest are just giant runts.
Giant runts. When you
Mhm.
told me that, I was like, wait, are you calling me small?
Ogres are hill giant runts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because the smaller giants have larger runts.
Mm-hmm.
Hill giants and ogres aren't that much different. And then you get like stone giants and Goliath are like, okay, a couple feet different there. Yeah.
Ooh, we could play with was it Casme? Chasme?
As the demons, as the mosquito demons.
Yeah, yeah, they could be up
Yeah.
there. That'd be really fun.
I
They
mean,
could have
yeah, I mean,
themselves some ice elementals as pets.
yeah. Servants and pets, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Look at the mind juices flowing now.
exactly. Um, or whatever is causing this whole thing here, this entire frozen expanse up in here, that could just be an elemental like surge that is just freezing the world, and something up here is causing that surge to keep going. And so just massive ice elementals and everything else that roaming this plane here, pushing into the mountains, driving all the creatures of them further south and trying to push the cold further and further south.
We could call that place the Frozen Tundra.
Yeah.
I think that's a good name for it. Just covers the whole area.
Icewind Flats.
Icewind Flats. Ooh,
Compromise here. Let's go with
that's that's actually a pretty good idea. What if that flats is actually got really windy,
sure. Nothing to prevent it there.
right? So now it's like not just cold, but this is like rigid cold. Like you don't want to be here. Good job, Dow.
Oops.
Combine your names. Frostwind Flats.
Flats.
Or there could be one of each and they're fighting each other over the territory.
True. This is sort of the like you got some faction over here and some faction over here, and they're kind of fighting back and forth across the area.
Mm-hmm.
We've got more ice cubes than you do. No, we have more ice cubes. We're going to turn your ice cubes into slushies.
Well, and the funny thing is that maybe they're not trying to force their way south. Just the fact that they're fighting each other is causing it to get colder and colder and colder, and things are freezing further down. Like
Yeah,
just the like like this is all freezing because of what's happening up in here, and like some obviously some migratory type frost type creatures there are moving south, but the fighting is happening up here that's causing it all to kind of
right. I was just looking
no.
at the wiki, Forgotten Realms wiki, and they have clay golems that could be in here or over in here.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Or
not played with
mud
clay golems.
mud
I might
mud
try
go
to.
mud golems.
Yep.
Mudmen. Ooh, Mudmen. That's a fun little race there. That's a classic D&D one, Mudmen.
Mudmen. Why have I not heard of that?
Let me see. Let me just see if there's somebody in here.
That would be a
Let's see.
fun little group to play with.
Wow, Mudman, right there.
There it is.
They are formed in pools of mud where enchanted waters, even mildly enchanted waters, to the stream eroding a magical structure, collect and evaporate and concentrate the drummer.
Wow, man,
So
they are
yeah, so
gnarly
this.
looking.
Oh yeah, they are. They're just kind of like oozy, like almost like clay face looking things. There, yeah. They basically throw. They're not big, but they throw things around and
Can you hit that show alt button?
show alt. What was it?
All show alt. Did you look it up in the compendium?
No, I looked at my book.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah,
You and your older books. Mm.
yeah. Well, like where Monster Manual 2. Well,
So here's
that
a
yeah.
question then, Jim and Dow and maybe Bernie, because Bernie knows a lot about the Fae. Where would a Fae Wilds be if there was going to be one in this
Wait, do
particular
you
world?
mean?
Like like a there has to be a well, it doesn't have to be because it's anybody's world. They can do whatever they want. But like if you're going to put a portal into the Feywilds somewhere on there, where do you think it would be?
Hmm.
Unless you
Well,
put multiple ones around, and they could be the puppet masters to everything.
ooh.
I mean, yes. That's a lot to keep up with, but yes.
Let's get these two to fight today.
Mhm.
Let's leave some food out.
Huh.
Right? It's
So
a good question to start thinking like just because we're building on top of the world, guys, don't forget that you can also bring them to other worlds, but where in this world would you put that?
the shimmering glass lake.
It does look off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We've
I
been saying
mean,
that since
essentially,
the beginning of the episode.
maybe it's not frozen. It's just gleam. It's just gleaming like silvery water, and these little spires are actually like poke through into the Feywild.
hmm That would be trippy, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
And then obviously the Shadowfell would be real easy to find. I
The
mean, maybe
ruins.
not fine, but yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe not fine, but everybody would know, don't go there because you'll end up in the
Yeah. Pretty
Shadowfell.
much. Pretty much. It's almost like a ruins right here too. Because
There is.
those don't like trees.
So I was looking at, I know this is a mountain because I zoomed in really close
Yeah.
one day. So, but like zoomed out, it kind of looks like a monastery, like
Hmm.
an old one up on a mountaintop. So,
Sure. Yeah.
like it something could be a portal into there.
Hmm.
I mean, literally
Or just
just.
an ancient, or an ancient monastery is sort of like it's up there and some
Mhm.
sort of ruined thing up on the mountaintop. Um, Actually, one other place it's a little smaller scale, but this little like tiny lake here jumps out at me because this thing down here it sort of has that look of like some little like secluded lake near the shore here, but it's kind of out of place
It
because there's
is.
like one big tree there and like little bit little curtain of green around it,
It
almost like
looked
a hidden sort of like oasis or something on the coast.
when I was originally thinking that was like a lake out in the middle of nowhere's land there. I was thinking
Mhm.
that one connected into that other one. So if you wanted to have, it's kind of sort of secluded up here.
Mhm.
Like you got mountaintops all around it. So like if you wanted a water tribe of some sort to be able to go under the water there to come out here to be on
Ooh,
land
be
and vice
fun.
versa,
Mhm.
right? You could have some type of water type tribe be able to do that.
Sure.
Right. Well, I'm thinking with the tree there and the water, you get like druid merfolk.
Ooh. In this lake area. Yeah.
They come out of the water and they change to legs and have their little druid
Sure.
powwow at the tree and back into the water.
Fun thing, the trees all on the outskirts full of dryads is because you have merfolk and dryads
Ooh.
like mixing together.
Yep.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, yeah. Fun little region there. And I mean, obviously, I mean, well, potentially maybe in opposition to the warlocks here, you have sort of the little dryad mer dryad fae here against the warlocks over here, and only keeping them is this little mountain range, and like they're starting to kind of push their way in this way here and creeping around the side over this way. They're kind of holding them back. Little smaller scale conflict on this larger crazy map. Okay.
Trying to think what else, what all other trouble I could cause.
Mhm.
Like what adversities are they going to have to face going through this? Not just like environmentally, but like what are they going to face politically?
And you gotta go to how advanced things are. Yeah. I mean, um, obviously you have the dangers and everything else here, but yeah, I mean, are the kingdoms, the tribes or whatever down here fighting over resources, or are they trying to like gather territory to push north, or it's hard to say exactly.
I mean, if we go with the
Uh,
warlock theme,
mhm.
nobody would want one person being in power of the entire continent. That is just not how races in general work, right? They always want to have
Yeah.
their own little area that they control so that like they can do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And if that warlock is really trying to branch out, like the map suggests in our, at least our vision,
Hmm.
somebody somewhere is going to be trying to fight against that warlock or lich, depending on what it is that we're going with.
Sure. I mean, one. I mean, we haven't. I haven't said you kind of touched on this with your campaign a bit here, but what if the stronghold in the middle here is angelic
Yeah,
and it's set on all sides by ice devils and crazy dragons and warlocks and like environmentally like bake the world dwarves or other lizard folk or something like that. At all sides.
yeah. There's not
And
a
then
lot of. Oh, go ahead, Dal.
if there's like a low area between the ice and the warm zone, it would be all misty and foggy. Maybe fill it with a bunch of displacer beasts or something.
Ooh,
You
yeah.
can't see what's going on in the dark, in the mist.
Be
Well,
funny,
not the
like
dark, but
this
in the mist and
entire
the
lake
fog,
right here was all misty, covered in
right?
mist and fog everywhere. Because you got
Hmm.
sort of the hot area down here, and the cold area up here. So this pretty much this lake is always covered in mist.
So much things we can do when we work together to come up with ideas for places to be.
Yeah.
And the moral for the story of anybody viewing this is get your friends together, get a map, and you
Yeah.
can come up with tons of campaigns.
Absolutely. And that is the cool thing where one of these ideas can spark an entire campaign. Um, all in the same landmass here. Like maybe you're trying to explorers trying to delve into these ruins up in here, and what's up there and how to deal with it. Maybe you're working for the angelic lich guardian, whatever this thing is in the middle here, who's trying to send agents out to deal with the problems in the area. Maybe you're the little mud skippers, like desert runners, trying to disrupt the power of the warlocks in the area. I mean, right there is three potential campaigns of varying power levels without even having to try. Maybe you're this little island over here. People in this island who've been sent to the mainland to go find out what's wrong. Get another campaign.
The whole campaign can consist on that island as well. Like, you know,
Yeah, true. Yeah,
you don't even
like
have to leave that
um,
island.
well, I mean, it goes back to you could even use like the old Isle of Dread module. And maybe you're on a remote island over here and there's dinosaurs and else on it here, and it's like you're just maybe you were fleeing from here and ended up crashing on this island, and now you need to first survive and get off.
What if that was a floating turtle? What is that turtle called? Is it a dragon
The great
turtle?
turtle.
Or maybe it's a great turtle?
Artis.
I mean that you have a turtle, turtle the size of an island,
Yeah.
bigger than a dragon turtle. It's more like a divine thing, I think. I don't know. Huh, whatever.